I'm Coach Amber, and welcome to the Meet RX Success Story podcast. Today we have Yasmeen with us, and she will be talking about her success story. Welcome, Yasmeen.
Thank you for having me. I'm really excited to do this.
Absolutely. I can't wait to hear your story. Okay, so let's start with the first question, which is what was your life like prior to a meat-based diet? Were you having any health issues or any concerns like that?
Okay, so I was a vegan for 7.5 years prior to this change. So it almost doesn't make any sense at all. And it's like a complete turnaround, but there is a reason for that. I was also having a lot of health problems even before becoming a vegan. And this was something that I think I was probably trying to address. But my story is kind of years and years of malnutrition and eating disorders, becomes vegan, starts deteriorating at the speed of light, thinks I'm detoxing. And yeah, that's the before story. But in terms of health conditions and things like that, it was just going downhill, but in ways I didn't realize were connected to the diet. So a lot of candida, bloating, fatigue, fibromyalgia, IBS. I just had no energy by the end of it. So that's kind of the end goal of the situation, severely fatigued and anemic, and just something wasn't right. That's what it was. The most concerning aspect was even the food that I was eating was all causing intolerances and problems, and I couldn't solve it. So every single thing I would eat would cause my tongue to break into welts and cuts and start burning. And nobody knew why. I mean, I was aware of the fact that your tongue is connected to your gut. So something's going on here, but I was left with a very, very small list of things that I could consume by the end of that. So I tried everything, like fruitarian, whole foods, just raw, just juices, just fasting, and it wasn't detox.
Okay, so when you first started the diet, how did you implement it? What were you eating? What did you leave off? And did you have any transitional issues?
Yeah, so it was for around a few months. Actually, it was a longer story. I was starting to think about how it didn't seem sustainable, what I was doing, even though I was all about the health and the sustainability of it. And the ethics always come into the question, but it was also like, but I always see myself on a farm, just taking care of little goats and having cheese. How am I going to fit this into my vegan story? So that was there. And then I started watching these videos of vegan deterioration, and I was like, I look like this. I'm gray. I'm extremely thin and nothing's working. There's inflammation all over and my skin was horrible. So that was the psychological bit, but it was physically, I woke up one day and I was just, something came online. There was like this instinct. There was like, I just need blood. This is bizarre. I can't live like this. This is completely against my body and my ethics and the fruitarian way that I'm born, or whatever it is that I was thinking. It was extremely diluted at the time. I had wanted eggs for so long, just boiled eggs. But I would always go and watch like medical medium stuff being like, they're poison. And I'd be like, yeah, they're poison. It's a good thing that I want this, but I don't need it. So when this instinct came online, the first thing I decided to do, because it was a massive change, it was like, how am I going to merge this with my worldview? So I decided to just try raw eggs, 2 raw eggs in a cup. I was like, I am sure I'm going to hate this. It's going to be disgusting, and I will end this entire nonsensical tirade, because I'm a very stubborn person. So if I get something into my head, I have to clear it. So I'm like, great, do it. And you're going to hate it and you're going to find out. So I didn't really expect what happened whatsoever, because the period right before this, I'd had like a silent heart attack. I was obviously extremely fatigued and in pain from everything, and just things just weren't okay. And I had constant like brain fog and static in my head, I guess because of the candida. So when I drank that little concoction, not only was it delicious, like that's the first thing. It was like creamy, and I couldn't have imagined what it would have tasted like, but my brain just zinged alive. That's the best way that I can put it. It was just like, and inside my body was this giant question mark. Where has this been? Where has this been for the last 7.5 years? What have we been doing? Why did you take this away from us? That was the feeling that I had. And just that kind of being awake sensation was like, okay, I can't ignore this. This isn't like I've tried this, I hated it, I can go on with my ways. It started me questioning a lot of things, because that was the turning point. So that's what I did, first of all. And I was craving like crazy raw liver for no reason. I'd never eaten it. I didn't know what it was. And I got some, and it just tasted like candy to me. It was so soft, and it just melted in my mouth. And for about a week and a half, I couldn't stop eating it. It was just, this is it. This is what we're doing. So from there, it was kind of a process of experimenting and trying different things. Early on, I also wanted like a raw steak for some reason. So I had part of it cooked and then part of it raw. The first thing that happened was this joint blew up and was so painful. And I got a rash all over my body. And I started thinking, oh, I've made a mortal sin here. Like this is clearly wrong. Your body's showing you that it's wrong. But I didn't want to stop, because I felt energy. I felt alive, and something was different. So I think that, in conjunction with research about oxalates, I don't know how I got into that, and starting this process out and beginning to actually dump oxalates, that is the transition period that I had. So initially it was like a carb crash. Cravings were crazy high, like especially the first 3 days I wanted to kill something. And I was a sugar addicted, previously vegan person that would eat like 20 dates a day. I was not ready for this at all. And I thought I was off sugar as well, because my lifestyle before was like no oil, no sugars, whatever, no processed things, but not really. It was like, I have to eat now again and again and again, because I'm getting nothing. So yeah, there was a carb crash. There was like a kind of keto adaptation period. And I ate a lot of eggs initially, because I was really hungry. And it was just a matter of getting in nutrients. And I could finally feel I'm actually getting in bioavailable things. It wasn't just empty anymore. I ate a lot of organs. I had brain and heart, and I tried so many things that I'd always been so averse to for some reason. But because it was all I was doing, it felt like it was the only thing that made sense. It was like the fatty stuff and the bones, I was craving it. And I think I had to break myself to get to that point. Which I'm so stubborn that it's like, okay, I have to start running on fumes and be doing this for almost a decade before something clicks. And I really went all in. Initially, I had a few different plants, but I started to have symptoms. Like I was having symptoms from the things that I was eating, and I realized I need to go further with this as an elimination diet and see what's causing what. So when I took it all out, in the first few months, a lot of things improved. Like I got my energy back, my skin was glowing, and I was like, this cannot possibly be something wrong if it is reversing all of the trends and the things I was experiencing before. I did have some microbiome changes. So there was like something I'd never experienced before, which was constipation. And it was like really severe. And it took a bit of testing to realize, okay, well, I've gone a little bit crazy and just had cream for breakfast. I'm just like trying these things I've never had before. And yeah, in conjunction with the oxalate dumping, that was coming in and going in cycles. Like I would have aching roots of my teeth, because I just went to zero oxalate from basically a diet of daily beets, spinach, and almonds, which are the highest foods in oxalates, to nothing. So yeah, it was it was rough. Like it had a lot of impacts on me, like insomnia and mood swings, but I could feel a definite difference happening. It was like going through, and it was getting better the further that I went with it. And I can't say that it needed to take me a year up until now to get my energy back. I got my energy back in the first 3 days. So that's that's what I could say about that.
What's a typical day like for you as far as what you're eating now?
So I'm surprised by how easy this is from a background of eating disorders and being finicky and like having to prepare all my vegan foods. It's a wonder how easy it is. So before I used to kind of like in the last year be a little bit more inventive, and now I'm just happy with how simple it is. So I started to include stone fruits on an empty stomach in the morning from May 2020. And I was able to do that because of the intense gut healing before this period. So that's kind of the first thing for me because it's helped with the bowel movements. But mainly what it is just yogurt, some eggs, and then I'll have burgers throughout the rest of the day. And that's it. It's like really easy to maintain and to do. And when I have access to more things, especially out of season for the fruit, for example, it's much more focused on whatever I can access. So the organs that I can get or the fish. I like trying different things, but I also like the fact that it's easy and I just do whatever is locally available and it feels good. I don't know. My family probably thinks I'm crazy because I went from fruitarianism and eating raw things and telling them it was all wrong what they were doing to just eating raw liver and like eating meat raw from the pack. And it's such a difference, but I can feel it. I mean, I really did try everything before. It was being in a lot of groups that really would guilt you and gaslight you and shame you for anything that you were experiencing. Any negative impact wasn't happening. It was just detox. You just need to do this. So it's very irresponsible. So going from basically needing to juice and to fast and to do this and to do that and experiencing no benefits whatsoever and just in your own personal hell of food addictions, food aversions, and then all the intolerances and chronic diseases that nobody can solve for you. This is a big difference. It's just, okay, just have some raw eggs, or I'll just make an omelet, or I'll just have a burger, and that's it. And I'm fine. The pain's gone.
Yeah, the simplicity is pretty amazing, and how you don't have to prepare food, think about food, eat food all day long. So it's an amazing thing. I'm glad you found this out for sure. Okay, so the last question, you've kind of mentioned a little bit about some of your improvements, but go a little bit deeper. Tell us how things have improved and changed since you've been doing this. And was there anything that kind of shocked you?
Yeah. So for 4 of the vegan experience, like 4 years of that, I had also had a copper IUD and that completely poisoned me. And I was infertile because of it, as well as malnourished. So that whole story did not help the autoimmune diseases. What actually shocked me the most after actually going carnivore was the fact that all of this stuff that I was struggling with, that I didn't realize I was struggling with, kind of reversed itself. So I got all these curves out of nowhere and I was like, okay, so, there clearly was something missing in my diet. So that was the first thing. It was like feeling a little bit more feminine, like filling out a little bit, whereas before I was constantly struggling with just my skeleton shifting is the best way that I can put it. Like my facial structure actually changed. Like it was asymmetrical, and I was watching my teeth year after year shift. I'm a very sensitive person. Like I can tell tiny little changes, and people often think I'm crazy because of it, but I could tell that my teeth were shifting, and it was like, why is this happening? Like, what's this from? So that stopped. That stopped when I actually started the nutrient dense foods. So it's like this whole process of deterioration stopped and all kinds of other things came back online. And the T3 mineralized. I got curves back, color in my gums. My gums were gray. They were white. There was no blood flow in my body. And the third day of having just raw liver, they were red. And it was like, oh my God, what is this? So after this period of infertility, obviously because of the malnutrition and the coil, the thing that shocked me the most was becoming extremely fertile. That bit was like, oh, wow, okay, so I am not this like being that feels nothing and just, I don't know, doesn't want to engage with life anymore in any kind of way. So it's like obviously the hormones would have been balancing and everything like that. And within the first few months, I just had energy back. My skin was getting better and I just felt alive again. And I think the most profound difference for me was that my nervous system prior was frazzled. I always felt like I was being electrocuted. There was tension inside of me that switching carnivore, I just felt relaxed. And it was like, I've been looking for this, but I was obviously not going to find it at the bottom of like a carrot juice. This is so different. The pain stopped, the fibromyalgia. People don't, they look at you just going about your day, and because you're silent about it, they don't think it's happening, but it was extreme pain all the time. And it was because you don't know what's causing it or which of the foods is causing it. So going into an elimination diet, it was like, well, it's gone. It's not here. So if I deviate sometimes, it's like, oh, there it is again. Okay, pull back. It gave me a toolbox of things to adapt and work with my body. So the pain was gone, the IBS was gone. For the first time in my life, no gut problems. Like since I was a kid, I had a lot of gut issues. I would get food poisoning all the time. And now I understand that food poisoning is like eating things you're not supposed to be, or mixing them, or something's off with the microbiome. So things just changed and improved, and I could kill off any kind of infections. And it really was like a miracle for me, because I was not gonna make it the way that I was going.
That's an amazing story, Yasmeen. Thank you so much for sharing that with us and for coming on the podcast. I love hearing how your life is so much better now, and I can see the glow on your face. It's amazing. So thank you so much for sharing.
You're welcome. Thank you for having me.
Absolutely. It was a pleasure, and continue doing what you're doing.
I think I will. Now I actually know that there is something that works, and not the kind of convoluted insanity of before. It's like, I feel horrible, but I must be getting better. No.
That's awesome. I love that. Again, thank you so much for coming on, and you have a wonderful rest of your day.
Thank you.
Bye.
Bye.